All right, welcome to my most excited, most so here's John. John Kluse. He's a participant in the Agile uh, Learning Institute, a nonprofit to help mentor people in tech. So, John, why don't you say a little bit about yourself and say hello to the audience out there?
Hi, sure. Yeah, I'm John. I'm a military veteran, career changer. So transitioning from a career in the military in Intel and language to tech and software development, and I'm excited to have the experience and mentorship just to make that transition as efficient as possible.
Awesome. So yeah, this is a recorded mentorship session that I've been doing. Speaking to my audience right now on my channel, assuming there is one. It's kind of a ghost town sometimes. I do have a few subscribers though. So anyone watching, this is John. I'm doing a mentorship session with John. I've been doing these for a while. So I use the transformational coaching model by the Avoda Institute, and we start off with the present situation part of the wheel. So John, tell me what's been happening now. We do have a now scope where we're keeping track of uh, things as they're going on. The most interesting thing I'd like to hear about is this: you actually have a pull request submitted to a official open source project for the Agile Institute, the 401c3 nonprofit. And yeah, so tell me about that.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about the Agile Institute is that it has this project that's being built to help people like me, but also provides the opportunity to like contribute to it. So yeah, I've been trying to contribute in different ways. My main focus as of late is to take one of the front end UI and start to build that out. And it's a step by step process. So I've built some wireframes to depict the UIs and got some feedback from that, made some changes. And then right now, the latest pull request that I submitted was for creating some routing on the client side that will route the client to the different resources on the topic topic front end. That's the one I'm currently working on. So yeah, that's what I'm currently working on. It it's nice because it gives me um, the opportunity to work on something that's going to be used by real people, ideally, and something that could be used on a resume and to help me talk about during interviews and in the job search. So yeah, a lot of benefits to contributing to the project.
All right, and John, so the present situation, you have that PR request open. Did you say that there were other issues you were working on?
Um, no, that's the main one. I've contributed to other issues. Um, I had a PR accepted to fix like the nesting of the enumerators on the admin page for the people UI. And then I also submitted a PR for the Docker Compose, which is the main Docker file for the Mentor Hub, to add topic the topic UI as a service to the Docker Compose and add a topic profile to those other services. So my main focus is on building out the topic UI, but it also touches some of the other other things within the project as well.
The other microservices, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so what would you like to focus on in this session, and what would you like to like make an agreement for something to accomplish?
Um, I would just like to focus on uh, the things I've been working on. The um, what was it? Let me pull up the
The now scope.
yeah, the noun scope that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
so
you.
I
Yeah.
I
Go
did
ahead.
do the basically the self assessment for on the Engineer Kit website,
Mhm.
and then um, I'm halfway through the Enterprise Design Thinking course. Uh, so I'd like to maybe get some feedback or perspective on the assessment and what I should take away from that, and anything else I should focus on maybe for the as I continue to look at these different courses.
Yeah. The assessment I think is important to give you to take for me to take a look at.
Okay.
I might need to look at that later though because I don't have the. Or let's see. I'm trying to look through the internal documents for the Agile Institute right now, and I don't have exactly saved
Yeah, no,
where
that's
that
fine.
is.
What would if you did look at it?
What would I want to
What would you
see?
be looking for in general?
Yeah, so I'd be looking for probably the top part of the T. The goal of the Agile Institute, as you know, but kind of speaking for anyone who might be watching this as well, is to build out T-shaped engineers. So I kind of want to see how far that top of the T extends, because I know that
Mhm.
your specialty is like the Pern stack, so like front end web development. Even though you've had uh, a lot more experience in other areas as well. In fact, holding a CCNA and working network support as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
I did do I did have a CCNA and CCNP. So I think the main areas were my software development and a little bit of the internet and networking background. That's kind of where the biggest or the I guess the most expanded part of the assessment was.
Okay. So yeah, that's so yeah, regarding that, now I think one of the main things we kind of had on the now scope is you are looking for a job. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. I'm still applying to software development roles,
Mm-hmm.
mainly front end developer, uh, ideally React front end developer positions, but open to pretty much anything. And yeah, that's kind of where my focus for um, the software development job search is. I've also got a couple other job um, backup things that I've actually um, accepted
Oh,
as kind of like an interim thing.
okay, cool.
They're not tech positions. They're based on my previous experience as an analyst.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I want to continue to search for software roles, and ideally, that's the long term goal.
All right. One thing notably absent from your now scope is the Odin project getting hired, how far had you have you like what's your experience with the Odin project so far?
My experience is just with that section. I have been to the Odin project and I basically um, skimmed through the whole thing.
Okay.
But I probably could go back and do the practical portions of uh, basically that second half of of it, and just some of the things I've done. There's been some overlap with what I've done with working on my resume and collecting job leads. That's something I've collecting and qualifying and then applying. Those are things I have been working on in the process of my job search, uh, but I perhaps could go back, review those things, and see if there's some additional things I could apply or incorporate into what I'm already doing.
Mhm.
Try some new things.
Okay, so yeah, that sounds like a good first step for because I so we were talking about the present situation, which is great. You've got something in the interim, which is I think I could probably have done good to have done something like that. So yeah, I definitely commend you for that for having things kind of taken care of in the interim. Um, and then while that's going on, you're making active contributions to uh, a real open source project by a real nonprofit startup organization. And your preferred future is you want to land something that's not, an intern job. You want that big, perfect software development role, working with like React. Um, so yeah, let's talk more about that. So you have a lot of ideas about how to get that. You have the resume. You reached out. We talked that you actually met somebody who was looking to hire vets, who worked at a place that hired vets. You're getting involved in building a professional network. You have a lot of experiences to share to like a local meetup where like you could actually be a solid contributor to some local tech group or like a mentor to someone. So what are some kind of more ideas do you have? Have you looked, so like what is your, I guess, so I'm reading the Odin part just to be like, because I kind of want to bring myself up to speed, and one of the parts I
Yeah.
read was must haves and nice to haves in a job. Do you have ideas for that?
Um, I think I mean that's pretty broad still, but I think I could come up with a list of like must-haves um, and nice-to-haves. I think the biggest must-have is that it's a role in software development, and um, I mean the nice-to-haves like are kind of like the um, a lot of the extra things like um, certain level of pay is a nice to have, a development program within the company, and maybe certain types of projects would be nice to have. But I think since this is like a first tech role type of position, the biggest must have for me is just it giving me experience in a software role. So that's kind of like the biggest must have, because if I um, get a um, position that's not in software development, I my concern would be that um, it'd be hard to move up in that field if I don't have any direct experience. That's where I think a lot of people look on your resume is like direct work experience for that. So yeah, I don't have a lot of must-haves. I guess another must-have would be physically located in Utah or remote because of just limitations with my family situation and what I'm willing to do right now. But um, yeah, those are some of the things that come to mind first for trying to split up must haves versus nice to haves.
Okay, so yeah, the next part is implementation. So, um, and one thing I do kind of want to just bring up is this idea that you're kind of landing a first role as a software developer. I mean, you said like, you know, it was a while ago by now, but you had a CCNP back in the day. You know, if it was a
True.
while
True. Yeah.
ago, yeah. So you're not trying to land a first role. Like you're experienced technology professional that has achieved the professional level cert, and you're trying to like get back into. I mean, you
Yeah.
said
I
it
guess
yourself. You're trying to, yeah.
yeah,
So tell
gain
me,
that reach
yeah.
experience.
So tell me more about like the ideas you have regarding that, like that like because you mentioned like the idea is that you're kind of pivoting a bit. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's definitely a pivot. So
Yeah.
my experience, I guess, with my first role was over 20 years ago.
Mm.
So that kind of puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
Um, and having those Cisco certifications, that was mainly focused on networking versus software development. So I it was good experience, and I think it's something I tried to highlight on my resume, despite how long it's been, just showing that um, I can, problem solve within the industry. A lot of these things overlap. So software development, has some connections to networking and routing and things like that. But um, yeah, I'm definitely having to, because my career in between wasn't overly tech related at all.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess it's trying to, if I were to try to leverage that previous experience, it would be to somehow relate how that experience could make me a better software developer, and how it could help me um, solve the software development problems.
So okay. So like what's like how are you implementing this? So like what so you've talked about the nice to haves and the must haves for the job. So the must haves, you want to work in software development, preferably with something like React. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you want to continue down that road and grow as a software developer, and then you've got some requirements like family requirements, that sort of stuff. And then nice have as long as you can become a software developer, um, everything else is just kind of a nice to have. So is have you considered so you're contributing to this open source project that's great. So like that seems like a really good first step? Like, could you tell me more about like your implementation of your plans here?
The where I guess I'm trying to benefit from contributing, I am with the front end, building out the front end UI. I'm also using React, so it's another um, project that shows that I can use React in a complex, somewhat more complex, multi microservice full stack project. So that's kind of the thought there, is that contributing and then showing adaptability too, because in working on Mentor Hub, there's been some newer things. Like I did a little bit of work on the person UI to fix that nesting issue, and that was written in Vue and not React. So um, basically reinforcing some React project stuff, but also getting exposed to some different technologies, and then being able to talk about those and add those to the resume. I think would help show potential businesses of some good skills and experience uh, in the front end, and just working on a team, collaborating, submitting PRs that are reviewed by a senior developer. That's where I see a lot of value, and getting that feedback uh, from someone who's worked in the industry before.
All right. So, what would you like to celebrate with me next time? I'm definitely putting the PR you've got in the celebration for this week. Are there any more specific links to issues or PRs that you're working on that you'd like to celebrate?
Yeah, the issue that I'm working on is kind of an ongoing one. The next thing after routing, doing client side routing, is um, let's see. I'm looking at the issue right now. Just building out the pages. That's probably what I'll be working on next.
All right, and that's in.
So that's something that I hope to have some additional PRs for. I'd like to maybe have the enterprise design thinking done by next week, and then um, maybe review and maybe find something actionable from the Odin thing that I could start applying.
Awesome. So like, okay, so yeah, we've got about 6 more minutes here. So last part is transformation, which is kind of a trickier one. And I'm filling out your scope here. So yeah, Odin project makes sense. I've got like practical portion written down because yeah, that's how they wanted it done. Is you skim through it once, go back and do things. So like yeah, having a personal website I think would be great. Thinking about those must haves, nice to haves, and tracking everything sounds great. The resume. So and then this video too, having this building that online uh, presence.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm filling out the now scope. I've got the design thinking practitioners. I've put in the celebrated scope, the microservice issue, and then I think later I'm trying to like dig up it's probably, is it on Mentor Hub itself? It's the issue number one, peer review architecture.
The issue, yeah, it's the name of the issue is create topic UI. It's It's on
Oh,
the
yeah.
Mentor Hub topic UI microservice.
Okay. All right. So
I can
I've got
send
it.
you the. You got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So like, what are you like discovering? How's discovered made a difference? Now, I remember you've answered this before. You've discovered the people side of IT. It's not just about being in the in the code. So like you're talking to me, you're getting mentorship, you're working on this open source project. So like what discoveries are making a difference for you so far?
I think for me and just the contributions that I've made so far at Mentor Hub, um, probably two things. One, um, just the importance of like collaborating with other people, asking good questions, understanding understanding the problem that we're trying to solve by creating this project. Overall, those are things that I think I still need to get a better grasp of so that I can contribute in more meaningful ways. And then doing that through communicating more. It's a little bit challenging, um, the way we have it set up, um, where we're just collaborating remotely. We don't have meetings per se to discuss the overall project or its current state. We're all kind of working asynchronously, which maybe a lot of companies mirror that same um, workflow, um, but just kind of in re-emphasizing the need to communicate and collaborate, in the way that works for this project.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a great discovery. Asynchronous communication and workflows that involve that. Yeah, that's something that yeah, so that sounds like an amazing discovery. I would just call that asynchronous communication. Do you have anything more to say about that?
No, just that, like my previous projects that I work with, there was an aspect of asynchronous, um, but there was like a lot more, like at least like a stand up or, like a review of where we were at on a weekly basis or things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that to me that sounds like a giant discovery because as you're talking about this, I'm thinking of it myself, and what I'm thinking of is design thinking, the design thinking practitioners course. There's a whole list, there's a whole toolkit there, and yeah, I mean that's an important discovery. I feel like a lot of the activities in the toolkit are kind of missing from this project. So yeah, that's kind of a big discovery, and yeah, is there anything you'd like to say about that? You're familiar with the design thinking toolkit projects, right?
Yeah, I'm just getting into that. It's
Yeah.
kind of similar because I've had a little exposure to like agile methodology and design. The design, thinking kind of goes over the iterative approach, continuous improvement, but a lot of it is, well, in that the feedback cycle is like, to share like your reflect on it and then share your insight and then continue making things. So, there's probably a lot of opportunity to do more, sharing, but it's, I think, more difficult to do that in like an asynchronous way. But definitely the design thinking probably has a lot of application to how to improve the process.
Awesome. So I think I'm gonna put that in the now scope actually. So I'm putting the feedback grid activity on there, and maybe I'll just say think about how to integrate this, how to integrate this into the Mentor Hub project. All right, and yeah, so these are half an hour sessions. I'll address the audience of this video if there is one. So yep, that's it for this video. This was John Kluse, and he's looking for a job, and as we've heard, 20 years of work experience, a lot of it in technology, actively contributing to an open source project now, military vets. Yeah, hire John. So I guess I'll give you the last word, John.
Um, I just want to thank you for your time, Graham, for doing this on your own accord and for participating in the Agile organization. And it means a lot.
All right,
Appreciate it.
and I'm stopping the video.